Good day, I'm Daryl Scott. I'm a pediatric clinical geneticist. I work at Texas Children's Hospital, and I'm an associate professor at Baylor College of Medicine. In my clinic time, I mostly see pediatric patients who have genetic disorders or are thought to have genetic disorders. Most of them come to see me because they're trying to identify the cause of those disorders and then learn more about what that means for their family and for their future.
Our question today is, why does my son have autism and his 3 siblings do not?
This is quite a common question that comes up in our clinic. I see a lot of children who have autism. I also see a lot of children who have developmental delay, intellectual disability, and sometimes also see children that have isolated birth defects like diaphragmatic hernias or cardiac defects. One of the most common questions that parents ask is, why is this particular child affected when his siblings are not? Other parents come in and ask something similar. They say, why is there no one in my family that has this, and now this child has this particular disorder? There's probably 3 main reasons why I think about why one individual in a family could be affected and no one else is. The first reason is that this could be a brand new change in this child. In other words, maybe this is not a change, or the causative change is not being passed down from parents from one generation to another. Instead, this child has something that's different. As it turns out, all of us have dozens of changes that are different than those who are in our parents. In other words, they're not passed down, but because of errors in the way the DNA is copied, we end up with changes that our parents don't carry. We often talk about those changes as being de novo or brand new in a child. If those de novo changes fall in places that are not important, we don't even recognize that they're there. But sometimes those changes affect very important genes. They can be genes that are important for heart development, diaphragm development, or in the case of autism, developmental delay, and intellectual disability, they may be genes that are very important for brain function. And so sometimes the reason why one child's affected and no one else is because they have a brand new de novo change. The second reason why a child may have a defect or autism, while none of his siblings do, is that there are differences between males and females. Most of us know that males have an X and a Y chromosome, while females have 2 X chromosomes. Because they carry 2 X chromosomes, females are somewhat protected from disorders that affect a gene or instruction on the X chromosome. Because of this, a woman may be able to carry a change that causes disease, but have no symptoms. But if she passes that same gene onto a son who only has 1 X chromosome, that son may be affected. So the second reason why a person or a child in a family may be the only one who's affected may be that the mother is a carrier of an X-linked disorder and has passed that gene on to a son who then has the disorder because he only has 1 X chromosome. The third reason we often run into is that maybe both parents are carrying a disease gene. But in this particular case, the disease is recessive. In other words, you have to have 2 copies of a gene or instruction not work in order to get disease. Because each parent carries 1 copy of the DNA or the gene that's working, they don't have any symptoms. But when they pass that gene on to their child, or I guess if both of them pass that bad gene on to the child, well, then the child has no working copies. And because of that, then that child is affected by that disease. Other siblings in the family may only be carrying 1 copy, just like their parents. They won't be affected. Or they may have inherited both working copies from their parents. In that particular case, again, they would not be affected by that disease. And so we see that if a single child in a family is affected by autism, developmental delay, intellectual disability, or any number of different birth defects, it could be because they inherited they have a brand new change that was not inherited from their parents, that they inherited an X-linked disorder that's being carried by their mother, if they're a male, or they may have inherited two copies of a gene that's not working from both parents, and both of those parents are carriers but don't show the disease because they have another gene that's working.